Hey guys, this is Dennis, the founder of Think Hero.
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
And this is our review of The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 14.
The Grove.
Yes.
The big one.
The big one, like the one everyone's talking about.
This is the deal breaker. Either you're on the show now or you hate it. This is the deal breaker. This is the big one.
So I have to say, I really liked it.
Oh.
I think it's probably one of the best episodes of Walking Dead since Season 2. What about you?
Okay, so before I go into it, because I don't want to burst.
So he's off the train.
I'm off the train, but that's just because of my feelings about the show. First of all, let me give it up to McBride. I thought she did an awesome job in this episode, acting as Carol. She did a great job. She put on a great performance. It's just the mood of the show, I think, for me. I'm having a lot of trouble getting into it. You guys have heard me talk now for, what is this, episode 14? For 14 episodes this season, just kind of struggling getting into this, and I think maybe the show isn't for me anymore. But there were moments that were good. This carried a story from the comic books, changed the characters, changed the arc, which is fine. It's just, I don't know, I didn't get emotionally tied to this girl who got shot. Because honestly, I kind of wanted her to die anyway. Look, I got family. I have little baby cousins. I like kids. I love kids. I don't want to see little kids get killed. But this girl was annoying. I'm like, she's off the show. What pissed me off was the cute one, the little one. I loved her. I thought she was so cool this episode. Like, she was being honest. She knew she wasn't as strong as her sister, but she picked up the gun, had that moment to herself where she killed a zombie. Like, I really liked her character, and I was pissed that she was killed. I'm like, if you're gonna keep her girl around, keep the little one around and get rid of the other one. But this is just the way it goes,
Yeah, because she was the weaker of the two.
Right. And I'm avoiding talking about the comics because if I did talk about the arc from where this came from, it would spoil a lot of it, and I won't, because that arc of the story is called Fear the Hunters. It's volume 11, I think, in The Walking Dead, if you're reading the trades. And so I don't want to spoil the rest of it, which is still to come. But they did change some things. That didn't bother me. I wasn't emotionally touched by the scene with Carol and her shooting the girl. It just didn't do anything for me emotionally.
See, I really liked it because they actually had planted a lot of these things throughout this whole season.
True.
You had the whole, actually even to last season with the rats, the killing of the rats, the feeding the zombies with the rats. They even tied up Tyrese's, not storyline, but the death of Karen with Carol. There's that moment, I thought it was really, really good, that was tension-filled, where they go out into the field. This is before any of the craziness happens.
Right.
And he's holding the gun, but he's holding the gun for protection. But you don't know if he knows that Carol had killed Karen or not.
No.
And there's a moment where Carol looks like she's about to confess, and there's moments where Tyrese looks like he already knows, and that he might off Carol right there.
Yeah.
So I really liked that moment, and they had built up that nicely throughout the whole season. And then with the whole Lizzie thing, we kind of knew there was something wrong with her, especially in the beginning of this season with the father, when the father was dying, and they wanted her to kill him.
Yeah.
And they made her look at the flowers, just like at the end of this episode. So I think they planted a lot of these things, and I can't say the same about other storylines that Walking Dead has been in. That's why I can't. I still stand by all the other episode reviews that we've done and of the episodes that I didn't like.
Right.
I happen to really like this one because I do think they actually led up to this in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I always defend you and I try to defend us in general. I think with The Walking Dead, you don't have to like every aspect of The Walking Dead to enjoy The Walking Dead. I might be turned off by this episode. I'm getting turned off by the show more and more. This might be my last season with the show. But I still love the comic books. I like the Walking Dead Telltale video game that we review on Think Hero. So, I mean, it doesn't mean I have to like everything, nor do you. But if you see a good episode, you like a good episode. You and I disagreed on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode recently. I don't like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I liked the Sif episode. Yeah. I really enjoyed that. Dennis didn't enjoy it as much, but it's just the way it goes. Like I said, I want to stress again that the performances were great. Tyrese, that moment with Carol and Tyrese sitting in the dark there, where he had the gun, like you said, right there, and he was thinking about, and he said, like, I forgive you. That was a well-acted scene by very good actors. I respect that. It's just, I can't. Without spoiling anything, this arc in the comic books has a lot to do with Carl and his maturity. With everything flipped around.
Yeah, but Carl's character sucks.
Carl sucks in the show. But in the book, I just prefer his story in there. I won't say any more than that. But it's just, I just.
So why do it with his character though?
well,
I think that's a good move. If people don't like his character,
they don't like it in the show. Yeah.
So like I think this one, having these two new characters, have this happen to them makes I think a bigger impact because I think I would have been more like you.
Yeah.
You know how you're like, oh, who cares? This girl's annoying. I think I would have been like that if it had been Carl. I've been like,
Okay, that's interesting. No, that's a good point. Yeah, because Lizzie to me is just kind of irritating me.
Oh,
I'm
she
like,
is,
just
but
kill
she's
her,
messed
just kill
in the
her.
head. She's messed
She
in
does
the
have
head.
some issues.
No, she is irritating.
Yeah,
but
she has issues.
I think the actress, for such a young age, did a really good job.
She did handle
at portraying someone that just couldn't get it.
I think she handled it better than even Carl did when he was freaking out. You know, the episode where Rick's like, all that. So I mean, again, it's well acted, it's well done. I mean, Scott Gimple, I believe he wrote this episode.
Yes, he did. The showrunner.
Showrunner, and I loved Clear last season. It was one of my favorite episodes. I would argue be maybe my favorite since season 2. He's a good writer. Like this show was well made. This episode was well made. I respect it. It's just I didn't emotionally get into it, but I respect the episode. I think it was well made.
And the director,
I didn't recognize
he's actually the cinematographer on the show.
Oh,
This is the first episode he's directed.
Oh, it was. Yeah, I like the way
I think he did a really good job.
Yeah, like I like all the.
There's a lot of shots through the window.
Yeah, like I love this how it opens with the window and her kind of playing with the zombie, and then it ends. You know, I mean, I liked it. I love the flow of the episode.
It opens with a Fallout 3 song by the Ink Spots.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah,
all right.
I recognized that right from the beginning. I was like, oh, that's from Fallout 3.
Right.
Also, another thing about it, I liked the ending with it was kind of a Mice and Men moment with Carol and Lizzie.
Yeah.
Look at the flowers, just like George and Lenny. I don't know if you guys have read of Mice and Men. You probably should have, because I read it when I was in school.
Yeah, I think I read it in college, yeah.
I read it, I think in high school. So I think most of you should have read it by now.
Read the Cliff Notes. Go ahead, just go to Wikipedia right now.
So they had their George and Lenny moment there. I really liked it, because it put Carol into a situation where it was something that she obviously did not want to do. She hated doing, but she felt that she had to, because with Lizzie, what are they going to do with her?
Yeah.
They can't leave her alone with Judith, the baby. They can't take her anywhere. Even if they separate, they take her around. Eventually, she's going to do something that's either going to get herself turned into a zombie, or get someone else killed or turned into a zombie. There's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
Even if you leave her behind, someone else, let's say, finds her. They don't know that about her.
No, yeah.
And then something bad's gonna happen then. So it's almost like she couldn't let that, be.
She's like one of those little scary girls from like The Ring or something. It's like a little horror. I mean, she was. I mean, yeah. Like I said, I like everything about the episode. I just couldn't get emotionally involved, and I wish I could. I wish I could talk more about, maybe after this season's over with, maybe I can talk more about the comics. I don't want to spoil anything, but it changed characters, and I think the story really needed to be, I liked it when it revolved around Carl, even though Carl is not great in this show. It was about his maturity and his growing up and his becoming different than he was as a little kid and kind of becoming a little man. And seeing Carol do that, even though McBride did an awesome job acting, she tore that scene up. She did a great job all around. I just didn't buy into it. I couldn't. I think this episode was meant to pull you in, either pull you into the show or push you in. That's why I can't wait to see the comments below, whether you guys were on the fence about it. Did it pull you in, or did it kind of push you away from the episode? Whether you've read the comics or not, like, what did you think about, the show?
Well, I have to say this, though, because I'm going to have a different reaction, because most people that, maybe they're a fan of the show and they really like this episode. I really like the episode.
Sure.
I've been very critical of season
season
4.
Right.
I call it how I see it.
Right.
I really like this episode. However, I don't think I'm going to have the same reaction as maybe some other people in terms of like going, okay, well, that's it. Walking Dead's back.
Right.
I don't think I have that. I'm still skeptical.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still not sure if these next 2 episodes are going to be awesome. Like maybe they will be. But this is what I mean. I'm keeping an open mind. I kept my mind open for this episode, and I really liked it. So it's not a question of me hating the show. It's if I think the show's episode is good, then I'll say it's good. So I thought this one was good. that doesn't necessarily mean the next 2 are. They could be, though.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like, even when I don't like this episode, I do try to respect things that I see I like. I think, like I said, the performances, cinematography, the director, he said the cinematographer, beautifully shot, well acted. I'm not criticizing the way the show is made. It just didn't connect with me. That's just a sign. Not every show is meant for everybody. This show is sort of slowly fading away from me. But I do want to finish out the season. I do want to see what happens. I am curious to see how they wrap this up. Again, this is the 3rd week in a row. No Rick. No Carl, no Michonne. That's interesting. Like, what I wonder what they've been up to. Like, I wonder if next episode's going to be like a step back. Like, is it going to like flash back to see what they've been up to? Or is it just going to show them? Is everybody going to be in the town the next time we see them?
I hope not everyone's in the town at the same time.
All right. Like, hey, we all made it together. We're all here.
Exactly.
Hey.
That'd be just kind of silly. Well, I think there is definitely going to be. I saw some preview footage of Daryl and his that new group that he's hanging out with.
Right.
We don't know what happened to Beth.
Yeah, she's like, yes.
You know, Glenn and Maggie are still trying to find each other.
So a lot of stuff to wrap up. I'm sure there'll be a cliffhanger.
What did you think of? Because I really liked this moment. Maybe you didn't, but I liked at the very end. Because I was talking about before the Tyrese and Carol thing. I was actually talking about before.
Right. Not in the house.
Not in the house.
Yeah. Right.
But at the end, at the house, I felt like I liked that moment that Carol. That was the time she decided to confess because I think she had so much pain inside, and she almost kind of was like, I'm ready to die. Like, I'm ready to die. Like, I'm going to confess to you. If you want to kill me, go ahead because here's your opportunity. Right. It's probably the moment where she's like, okay, I'm ready for it.
I think I liked it because I think we got more of Carol than we've gotten in a long time. Carol, I didn't mind her, but she's always just kind of been there. But this last, ever since Rick sent her away, and she's come back, I think we've seen a lot more of her. So yeah, I think that with Carol, and it was a very important scene. I think it gave her more depth, and I think that she's needed that because I don't think she felt like that much of an important character essential to the group, but now she is. I mean, I can't wait to see if when she's reunited with Daryl, what that's going to look like, or maybe her and Tyrese will form a bond. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's always
they kind of have formed that bond, but now it's a little broken. Even though Tyrese forgave her.
Might be a little much for him to.
Yeah, I think like the bond that they kind of had in this episode, like they were gonna build a home there. I think that's what brought me in versus like, with Mika and Lizzie. Obviously they're not characters that have been around the whole series that much. I think what brought me in was the fact that here they are, this kind of weird family unit with the baby too. You had the 2 kids. The mom and the dad, and they found this place, and like they were like, let's settle down here. It's nice. We got this, we got the stove and water.
Yeah, we can make this work.
And I think that also contributed for me, like the feelings of they lost all that.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why they couldn't stay, because not technically, but like realistically, they could have stayed.
Yeah, they could have tried to make it work.
Didn't, but mentally, they didn't want to. Psychologically, they didn't want to deal with what happened there.
Yeah.
So that's why they left.
Yeah. I mean, this is a big episode. There's going to be a lot of curious to see what the conversation is going to be like below. I mean, this is going to be this is an intense episode. A lot of this is blowing up on Twitter and everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. So.
Yeah, people were comparing it to. I don't want to spoil it, but people were comparing it to the Game of Thrones Red Wedding episode. I don't think it's quite there. Even though I really like this episode and I think it's one of the best in a while, I don't think it's on that level.
And see, that's the difference right there. Let me say something real quick before we go. Yeah. The Red Wedding, I've read all the Game of Thrones books. And Game of Thrones, the TV show, sticks fairly close. The Walking Dead show kind of goes off on different, it sticks more closely to the books than The Walking Dead does. And I knew the Red Wedding was coming, but the Red Wedding, I was still tense during that scene. Like I was like this. Even though I knew who was going to die, I knew what was going to happen, I was still tense during that scene. But again, this episode it didn't pull me in. So that's my reluctance.
It was tense for me this episode. I just not on that. I mean, for me, the Red Wedding is one of the best episodes of television I've seen. So not the best, but one of the best.
Right.
And so this was really good, especially for The Walking Dead. All right, guys, so that's what we thought of this episode. You can post your comments below on the website, thinkhero.com, or on our YouTube channel, Think Hero Pro. Make sure you subscribe to that and tell us, what do you think of this? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I saw some people said they thought it was only okay.
Right.
Are you back on the train? Are you off the train? Or are you like me that even though I really liked it, I'm still skeptical? I need more consistency. I need Walking Dead to be, 5, 6 really good episodes,
row,
then
yeah.
I'll be back on
Right.
the train.
And then you also can find us on Twitter. You want to come chat with Dennis, myself. Who's going with me? Who's coming with me?
I'm sure there's some people.
Who's leaving after season 4? Who's out? Who's done? No. You come chat with us on Twitter at ThinkHero. I'm at GriffinDE.
And we also have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans. And make sure to like that page and share our video, our Walking Dead reviews, our Game of Thrones reviews coming up soon.
Yeah.
Share those on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. That'll really help us out.